Welcome, welcome to No Apologies on Beck. I'm your host, Lori Hinz. Glad to be here again tonight. And tonight, got some treats for you, especially our first guest, who is coming to us from the SBA list. It is Mallory Carroll, zooming in remotely, and we have Mallory Carroll. I'm assuming that you're probably in Washington, D.C., Mallory. Is that correct?
We're just across the river in Arlington, Virginia, actually. The real estate's a little cheaper out here than right in the heart of downtown, but we're close enough to be making a difference on Capitol Hill, and it's a great location.
Awesome. Well, it's wonderful to have you. Thank you for being on the program tonight. Mallory, we're going to talk a little bit about abortion in America and about what's going on with the Supreme Court. There's so much that the SBA does. And people may not know about, I call it SBA list, but Susan B. Anthony list is what it is. And if you would tell us a little bit about what you do there at the Susan B. Anthony list.
We are the nation's largest pro-life political organization, and our mission is to elect pro-life champions at the federal and statewide level. That way we can work with them to pass laws and policies that save the lives of unborn children and their mothers. And we believe that women have a special role to play in this area, that women's voices are unique in bringing the truth of the life issue to the public square. And so we've always emphasized pro-life women candidates. Of course, we support pro-life men as well, but we have expanded over the last 30 years. Having been founded in 1992, we now have a connected super PAC, Women Speak Out, a research arm, the Charlotte Lozier Institute, which is providing the most up-to-date science and statistics for lawmakers as they work to pass pro-life laws. And we are just anticipating an explosion of activity in the years ahead as states, please, we hope to God, finally have an opportunity to pass laws that reflect the values of the people that live there. And we won't abandon the fight here in the U.S. Capitol as well. We've got to keep fighting for unborn children, regardless of what state that they're living in. But that's a little bit about Susan B. Anthony.
Excellent. And it was very well done, too, I might add. Now, the nice thing about getting these candidates who are women is that I've noticed that there has been an uptick in women running for office. And I think that's probably attributed to the Susan B. Anthony list, too.
I believe so. This year, we have a record number of pro-life women serving in the U.S. Congress. There's as many as 30 at this point. Compare that to when SBA started in 1992. There was not a single pro-life women's voice in Congress at that time. And so we've made leaps and bounds. We've just made such incredible gains as pro-life women, as a pro-life movement in terms of representation at the federal level, but also at the state level. Through our National Pro-Life Women's Caucus, we connect pro-life women lawmakers at the state level to each other and work with them to pass life-saving laws at the state level. And it's been through the fruit of that effort that we've met so many incredible women who have then advanced in their careers, advanced in public service to Washington, and even governors and lieutenant governors at the state level. So it's really exciting to see pro-life women make such incredible gains in these last few years.
Your group is so successful, and it is such a marvelous group, too. And I just want to compliment you. You have an amazing website. Now, I'm going to show on the bottom of the screen what the site is so that people can see it. But Mallory, this is the best source that I can think of to find information about what's going on with the Supreme Court, what's going on with the pro-life movement. It is a marvelous site.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. I'm going to pass that along to my colleagues. We are trying to keep everyone updated. I mean, this is a critical time, Lori, in the pro-life movement. For 50 years, we've been working to just have the right to pass laws that reflect our pro-life values. For 50 years, the Supreme Court has had its thumb on the scale and prevented the American people's voice from being heard. And we have fought back so hard against this to make sure that the pro-life movement had a voice in politics, that we were able to elect pro-life leaders to the Senate and to the White House, that that nominated and confirmed judges, such as the ones that are signed on to the draft Supreme Court opinion that we hope to God becomes the official position of the court. And all the while, state lawmakers have been passing, just throwing, everything they have at the Supreme Court jurisprudence, trying to pass laws that get to the heart of what it is in an abortion. What is that thing that is growing? If it's just a clump of cells, we could all just pack up and go home. If it's the equivalent of a rotten tooth or an appendix that needs to be removed, there's no need for us to spend time on lobbying, to spend time in politics, to spend time building websites. We might as well just go home. But it's an unborn human child, a member of our human family that deserves the protection of our laws and the love of our communities. And so we exist to provide that political support for a constituency that has no voice, literally. I mean, the unborn, you cannot get more quiet, than an unborn child tucked away in his or her mother's womb who desperately needs protection. And so we found that, in order to bring the really a political muscle to such an important human rights movement, that this is what we've been called to do. And it's a really exciting time. So we're hopeful that more and more people will join in on this moment, because really from this eventual Supreme Court decision, we have our work expands to the states and remains here in Washington, but we have so much more to do ahead.
Yep, exactly. And I am so happy to hear you call it a human rights issue, because that's exactly what it is. It's human rights. And I will say, too, that this Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization case is poorly understood, I think, by the rank and file people are just, they're hearing about it and they're hearing about Roe v. Wade, but they're not really understanding that it does not repeal Roe v. Wade. It would simply send things back to the states. Speak to that for the last minute and a half here in this segment.
Well, so many people misunderstand Roe versus Wade. They think that it allows abortion in the first trimester, but really what it does, it allows abortion on demand up into the moment of birth. And subsequent abortion cases at the Supreme Court have only expanded the unfettered access to abortion in this country. We're so extreme. The United States is one of 7 countries, including China and North Korea, that allows abortion past the point that babies feel pain, at least by 20 weeks. Even at 15 weeks, all the way up into the moment of birth. And so the Dobbs case, at the heart of it, is a very reasonable, very popular limit on abortion at 15 weeks gestation. This is the point in time when babies are sucking their thumb. They know whether or not they're right-handed or left-handed. They're showing a preference for that. They're becoming aware of their surroundings. Twins in the womb move more slowly towards one another, recognizing the humanity of their brother or sister in the womb. It's really amazing. And so if the Supreme Court upholds this 15-week law from Mississippi, it will have the effect, we hope, of overturning Roe and thereby allowing state lawmakers and federal lawmakers to return to the democratic process and allow the will of the people to be seen and heard in the law. That's all it will do. And it doesn't make abortion go away overnight. It simply returns this decision to where it belongs, which is with the people.
Welcome back to No Apologies. I am Lori Hinz, and with me remotely is Mallory Carroll, who is Vice President of Communications for SBA List, or Susan B. Anthony List. Thank you for joining us. We are talking about all things pro-life and also about what's going on with the Supreme Court. And honestly, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. It seems to me that I have seen some major overreactions to the leak. And maybe I'm wrong, and I'm just maybe looking at it from a different lens, but it seems like people really are going nuts about something that A, hasn't happened yet, and B, why are they acting so radically?
Yeah, it's been really disturbing to see the reaction from the far left. I'm in Northern Virginia. That's where a lot of these Supreme Court justices live. And to see the protests, the vulgar, terrible signs outside their homes, these handmaids dressed up in red robes outside of Amy Coney Barrett's house where she has young children at home. It's just been really disturbing. And I think even I saw a recent poll that most Democrats disapprove of this behavior of some of the far left radical elements of their party. But this is a reaction. We have to consider why people are reacting this way. Roe versus Wade and subsequent abortion decisions are an example of extreme judicial overreach. In one day, 7 unelected judges at the federal level struck down every single state law protecting unborn life and protecting women from abortion that had been passed up until that point. That is a breach, a huge breach of democracy. And what will happen if this court case is resolved in the way that we hope, with an opinion that resembles the draft that was leaked, it will mean that the people are once again able to decide. And it doesn't mean that abortion goes away overnight. In California, New York, heck, most of at least half of the states in the union are going to double down on pro-abortion policies. I mean, think about California, New York, Maryland, my home state of Maryland. They are, like California, looking at legislation that would decriminalize any activity that leads to the death of a child, even 6 weeks, after he or she is born. So they're looking to not just enshrine abortion on demand, but to legalize infanticide. And so this is really extreme. We have to push back on this at the state level. But what's going to happen in pro-life states is that a consensus is going to be reached through the democratic process, and that lives are going to be able to be saved and women are going to be protected from abortion. This is where this conversation belongs, in the legislature, being decided by the people. And remember, state lawmakers, they're very close to the people who have elected them. They were sent in many cases with a mandate. Look at states like Oklahoma, Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana. There are pro-life states that are passing pro-life bills even before the Supreme Court case has been decided, because there's such momentum right now. Even with abortion rates on the decline, more and more American women are choosing life in unexpected circumstances, because we know so much more now than we did in 1973 about the unborn, the amazing, incredible ultrasound technology. These babies, they are seen as welcomed members of the human family. We've got photographs of our unborn child up on the refrigerator at home. That's something that, that earlier generations didn't have the luxury of knowing, of seeing what exactly was developing inside of them. So our culture has gotten more pro-life, and it's time that the laws are modernized to meet the situation that our country is in.
Absolutely. And people may not realize that abortion rates are declining too. And I think technology has a great deal to do with that. I saw an ultrasound in my little baby one time, the size of a kidney bean, but there was a heartbeat there, and I knew it was a person at that point. Technology has really aided us, haven't they?
Absolutely. I mean, I have the extreme gift of being able to talk to neonatologists and researchers, people who are not only doing, like textbook research on the embryology and the development of the human person, but people who are actually saving these babies as they're born premature. I mean, I know a little boy, Micah Pickering from Iowa, not too far from North Dakota, but he was born at 20 weeks gestation. He's one of the earliest preemies to survive. He's a 7-year-old, very bright and happy, cheerful little boy, and he has nothing wrong with him because of the incredible gains in medicine and how we're able to care for these preemies. So the viability standard, which is what has been the sort of status quo, it really doesn't make sense anymore, because viability is clearly a moving target as we have more and more advances in medicine and neonatology. We're going to be able to save babies earlier and earlier, and that is what we should be pushing the medical community towards, not encouraging them to be harbingers of death. I mean, that's what abortion is. It takes the life of one and it wounds another. So the abortion lobby is doing everything, though, that they can to push back on the decline in abortion. We're seeing more than half of all abortions at this point are being done by chemical abortion, these pills that are distributed that can be obtained in some places via the mail. In Texas, we've seen far left pro-abortion activists going into Mexico and bringing back drugs illegally to assist women with giving them abortions. Oftentimes, these women they're in domestic abuse situations, and that is the answer that the abortion lobby has. They want to give them a pill, kill their unborn child, and say goodbye. Juxtapose that with the pro-life movement. More than 2,800 pro-life pregnancy centers nationwide, far outnumbering Planned Parenthood and other abortion facilities, that are coming alongside women, supporting them, their unborn child, their family, helping them to choose parenting, to choose adoption, and maintaining a relationship with them after that baby is born. So there's two different Americas right now, and we have an option, a choice. Are we going to choose life or choose death? And so this couldn't be a more critical moment.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. And it's possible that we just have not done a good enough job of getting that information out there with the pregnancy centers. Or it occurred to me just as you were talking about that, it might be censorship too. It's possible that maybe that the lobby of pregnancy centers and help centers has been squashed somehow.
Well, I've talked to a lot of people who work at pregnancy resource centers. A lot of them just want to do the work of ministering to women who are standing directly in front of them, arms outstretched, needing help. And so there are major pro-life pregnancy center affiliates, Heartbeat, CareNet, NIFLA. They're doing excellent work. But yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that the pro-life message is being silenced because this is a threat to the abortion industry, which is well funded. And we've seen it time and again, censorship on social media. This is the new public square where people are coming to exchange ideas, and we've had our pro-life message shut down. And we are a political organization who is dedicated. Like, we're spending the bulk of our time trying to get the pro-life message out there and to be pro-life advocates. For pregnancy centers who are working on the front lines to serve women and their children, they don't have time to be fighting the censorship that they're receiving from Twitter, even Facebook, Google. There's no doubt that big tech is pro big abortion.
Absolutely. Mallory, thank you for the update. Thank you for telling us about SBA List, and we really appreciate you coming on the program. Thanks so much.